Hello everyone, I'm Professor Geek. Welcome back to the channel, and welcome to another one of the recommendation videos I've been promising that I will do occasionally this new year. And these are going to be recommendations for stories that truly capture the aspirational hero archetype that I push so much on this channel, at least in giving us a story about an aspirational hero, or a story that at least honors the spirit of aspirational heroism. I also said in some of my previous videos that one of the ways we should respond to the rampant deconstruction of aspirational heroes, or the pushing in of political agendas to their detriment or whatever, one of the ways we need to respond is to simply create our own heroes. This is an example of somebody who did just that. Now, this is actually a comic writer, of course, so it was published by Image. It's not somebody doing their own, independent comic. But it's still a good example. So you might see on the cover by now, this is Huck by Mark Millar. It was a 6-issue run, and it is released now in a trade paperback. I'll have a link in the description below if you want to pick up that trade paperback. I definitely recommend it. I have all 6 original issues here. You might be thinking, Mark Millar, wait a minute, what? You said aspirational hero, right? Mark Millar is commonly known for things like Wanted or Kick-Ass, Marvel's Civil War and stuff like that. He does tend to do stories, even Superman's Red Son, which he either tries to tell, or he has in the past, either tried to tell extremely dark and gritty, type stories in comic books with heroes, or even taken some existing heroes and making them a bit darker or whatever. I think, first of all, I'll show you why he changed his tune for this story, but I also want to just say before that we shouldn't just limit our knowledge of Mark Millar to that, because Mark Millar did cut his teeth on writing some really iconic Superman stories in the past. This is some of the Superman adventures he wrote. He wrote some comics back in the day with Superboy, like Metropolis Kid and Supergirl and whatnot. So he, this was based on the wonderful Bruce Timm and Paul Dini show. So he's done iconic stuff in his day. But this came out in 2015, and he says that he wrote he created this character of Huck and wrote this story as a response to the horrible deconstruction he saw in Man of Steel in 2013. It really traumatized him, he says, and he decided, the world needs heroes. You did that to Superman. You took Superman and did that to him. It's what I've been preaching all along. We need heroes. So he couldn't stop DC from treating Superman like that, or stop Warner Brothers from doing that. So what did he do? He decided to write and create an aspirational hero very much in the vein of Superman. Now, this isn't just a Superman analog. It's not like Alan Moore's Supreme, which is also really good, and we'll look at that later. But this is a new hero. There's a lot of Superman-like elements to it, but this is a good example of that. So we'll look at it in a second. I'll get to... Well, let me show you a little bit. The story is about Huck. It's this small country gas station attendant, and his name is Huck. He has these mysterious powers, but he uses them for good. And he's kept as sort of the town secret. And at night, he goes out and just does these good deeds. He goes back and retrieves things that people had lost. He brings people, family members back together. He does all of these things for the good of others. He's extremely selfless. He's got the kind of hometown values, and he's just a good person. Now, the story progresses through where you find out a little bit more about him, and you find out some backstory, but it never deconstructs him as an aspirational hero. He remains that aspirational hero always. It was such a joy to read. It really gave me just goosebumps reading it. It was exactly the kind of story that you needed at that time, because this is out in 2015, so this is still DC in their nonsense New 52 era, where the New 52 Superman was nothing like the real deal Superman. In the movies, you were getting Zack Snyder's vision shoved down your throat with a deconstructed Superman. You didn't have the aspirational hero Superman anymore. You had him nowhere. So this is a great example of Mark Millar, for example, saying, I need that. Mark Millar, of all people, said, oh my gosh, I need that. And he created one of his own. And it's a really great story. I really recommend people pick it up. And it's even more of a testimony, I think, to the need of aspirational heroes when you have somebody who himself had actually participated and contributed to the muddying up and the dirtying up and, darkening of heroes. He'd actually contributed to that. And he himself, like once you take it away, he himself realizes, whoa, I need real heroes. I need that. So I won't show you too much or go into too much of the story here, but it's a wonderful 6-issue arc. You can see that even by the covers, they had a lot of fun with some of the variants. This is aspirational heroism, so they even did variant covers, which is in the vein of certain, staple mythological, stories that we have as our culture and everything like that. Really great story. And I want to close this this recommendation video by reading to you something that Mark Millar wrote about this story himself. So he wrote an essay, and it was entitled "How Man of Steel Traumatized Me So Much I Created Huck." And in this essay, he talks about, his creation of this character, and he goes a lot more in depth, but I'm just going to read a couple quotes here. He's talking about all the things that he'd done in the past, Wanted, Kick-Ass, all these stories, the darker stories that he'd written. He says, "But summer 2013, as I sat there on Father's Day and saw Superman beating that bad guy by twisting his neck so hard he broke it and murdered him, I really wondered if we'd come to the end of that particular road." And he says, "This was Superman. This was like seeing Sylvester the Cat finally getting his hands on Speedy Gonzales, Elmer Fudd blowing away Bugs Bunny. I loved Superman as a kid, not because of his edginess or his potential for a fatal solution, but because he could do anything he wanted and still chose to be nice. This was always the moral of a Superman comic to me, a superhero comic to me." Yes, amen, thank you. And I think it's such a great, like I said, it's such a great testimony that, people can spit on this idea of aspirational heroism and think it's too outdated, it's too silly, it's cheesy, it's not relatable, blah, bitty, blah, bitty, blah. But even the most hard-hearted person who tries to push for the edgy and the gritty, once you truly let them experience what it means to not have any aspirational heroism around there, have all of their icons torn away from them, eventually, whether they admit it or not, they themselves will cry out for the aspirational hero. It's a basic human need. We need that goal. It's as basic as needing a meaning in life. It truly is. It's so profound. It's far more profound even than superheroes, but these are the wonderful archetypes we often see them in. Elsewhere, too, in movies, Luke Skywalker and so forth. But I highly recommend Huck by Mark Millar. These are the original issues. You can get them in back bins, I'm sure, but I will have a link in the description below if you want to pick up the trade paperback from Amazon. It's so good. It really is a heartwarming read, and it's well written too. Can't recommend it enough. So I'll be back for a lot more of these this year, these recommendations. I'm going to juggle those in with my continuing critiques of the way that whether it's Warner Brothers, Marvel, or Disney, Star Wars, or whatever, is misusing and going nutso with these things. So I'll continue my cultural and story critiques and criticisms, but I'll also continue these wonderful recommendations, giving you stories out there that you can go check out. And we just need to return to some of these old stories, write our own, but then return to these old ones that are still out there for us to discover until Hollywood or publishers or whatever finally get a clue one day. So that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep enjoying and digging deeper into the hero stories you love.